Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel. Now we got some brand new cards revealed this morning, and I'm not gonna lie, these new cards are looking pretty broken. We got some brand new EXs, a new Dragapult EX, we got a brand new Palafin, which we already kind of got a reveal of before, but it is a pretty good new card. A brand new ACE Spec Special Energy that I think actually is going to be very powerful, especially in Lugia. We got some brand new abilities that are really awesome to have in the format, and there's a new card that might help control. It's a crazy reveal. There's a lot of cards to look at here, and I am super excited to take a look at some of these new cards. If y'all are new here to the second channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We're on the road to 13K subs, and if you go on to enjoy the video, leave a like. Let me know what you think of some of these new cards revealed down in the comments below. These cards will, of course, be in our Twilight Masquerade set in May, and they will be coming out in Japan's Mask of Change set, but we will get these cards in May, so we're about a month or so away from getting these new cards. And I'll leave a link to PokeBeach, the site I'm using to read the scans and translations. So, starting things off here, we do have some brand new Rillaboom line cards, including a brand new Thwackey with a really cool ability. So I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of really interesting abilities that we are getting within the set on some specific Stage 1 Pokemon. One of them is Thwackey with that Bang Bang Drum ability. If your active Pokemon has the ability Festival Temperance, you can search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. So you basically get a free Pidgeot EX ability on a Thwackey. Now, your active Pokemon does have to have a specific ability. Now, as we scroll down the website here, we are going to see more Pokemon that do have that ability, Festival Temperance. And we've got a few revealed so far, and I'm not sure if we're going to get any more. I would assume we will if the Pokemon wants to make like an engine out of this style of ability. I'm sure we'll get more, but we do have some new cards here that do have the ability Festival Temperance. And if you're going to play a deck with this, you do get a really good Thwackey. Like I said, that's literally Pidgeot's ability. You do have to meet the requirement of your active Pokemon needing Festival Temperance, but hey man, a free 4-Seal Stone every turn is still kind of ridiculous. There's a reason why Pidgeot is such a broken card in the game right now and why Charizard is so dominant. There is, of course, a brand new Rillaboom that goes with the Thwackey. It does not have the ability Festival Temperance, but it does have the attack Drum Attack doing 60 damage, and during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon's attacks and retreat cost will cost 1 colorless more. And then you got Woodhammer doing 180 and then 50 to itself for 2 energy. I mean, it's a grass Pokemon. Obviously, nice typing against Charizard and Roaring Moon. Its attacks are kind of they're fine. Drum attack's kind of interesting. You compare that with League Headquarters on a basic Pokemon. Only doing 60 damage is kind of underwhelming, though. Maybe if this Pokemon had that Festival Temperance ability or something, maybe this would have been a lot better. But Rillaboom's okay. The Thwackey is where it's at, though. Like if you're gonna play the Thwackey, I don't even know if you're gonna play the Rillaboom because it's just kind of mid. I guess it's actually not that bad. It's not bad against Charizard. Like in the late game, if Charizard overextends their resources, then I guess you can Drum Attack and sometimes Charizard can't do anything because they won't be able to attack you, maybe. But here's where things get interesting. So we got a brand new Applin. Then we got a brand new Diplin here. Now, Diplin does have that Festival Temperance ability, so this will work with Thwackey. So if the Stadium Festival Grounds is in play, so as you can see, it's kind of a bit of a chain reaction. You need a Stadium in play to use the ability Festival Temperance, and then you need the Thwackey in play to kind of change. So it's kind of like a bit of a chain, which is kind of cool. I don't think we've seen that before in the TCG, actually. So yeah, if you have the Stadium in play, this Pokemon may attack twice each turn. If the first attack knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon, you may attack again. So it's kind of like Jumpluff from Evolving Skies, where you could do the same thing, attack twice. You do have the attack Do the Wave for a single Grass Energy, does 20 damage for each of your bench Pokemon in play. So you could do 100 damage. So actually against Charizard, you can do 200 damage, and then you can use Festival Temperance to do 200 more damage to 1-KO a Charizard EX. Not to mention, you're just doing 200 damage for 1 energy because you're attacking twice. And you're a Stage 1 Pokemon. Honestly, this card is pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Being a Stage 1 Pokemon that can do 200 damage over the course of 2 turns, it's pretty good. You can also combine this with Reversal Energy and like Crisis Punch and stuff. If you want to get cheeky in the late game, there are some really interesting combos you can do here with Diplin. Being able to attack twice is very strong. You do need to meet the requirements of having a Stadium in play. At this moment in time, though, the Stadium War is not that bad. I mean, most decks are only playing like 1 to 2 Stadiums. And if the Stadium War kind of stays that way into this new format, this card could actually be a really strong attacker. I mean, that ability is really good, and its attack can do a lot of damage, and of course, you can KO a Charizard in 1 hit, and you have a good support system with Thwackey, which is kind of sick. Now, we do have a brand new Goldeen that also has Festival Temperance. Like I said, you do need to have that Stadium in play, and it allows you to attack twice. once again. Now, unfortunately, it's not as good as Applin. It does have Whirlpool, 10 damage, flip a coin of heads, discard energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. Yeah, you can do this twice, meaning that you can technically remove 2 energy, so, against a deck like Charizard, that could be annoying, but ultimately this isn't very good. Yeah, it's not the greatest card ever. I mean, if you're playing against Charizard, you Applin or Diplin, sorry, just already KOs it. So I don't know. The Goldine's kind of bad. We do have a new Seeking here, which doesn't have the ability Festival Temperance. It's got Peck Off for 1 water, does 50 damage. Before doing damage, discard all tools from your opponent's active Pokemon, and then you got that Vanilla Horn Drill attack. So Goldeen, Seeking, not too great. I don't see a world where you're going to want to use Goldeen and Seeking. Maybe this could have been good if Seeking could use Festival Temperance's ability. Like with Relicanth, but that doesn't work. You can't Relicanth use Seeking to use Goldeen's ability. It doesn't work that way. If it did, maybe the Swim Freely Seeking would actually be okay with that. We do have a brand new Finizen. Now, this is where things get spicy. So, yesterday, we did see an early leak for a Palafin EX collection box. The Palafin EX, from what we saw, looks pretty broken, and I'm not going to lie, this Palafin has me excited. So, we have a Stage 1 Palafin here, which I know looks like Finizen, but this new Palafin does have the ability 0 to Hero. Once during your turn, when this Pokemon moves from the active spot to the bench, you may search your deck for Palafin EX and switch it with this Pokemon. Any attached cards, damage counters, special conditions, turns in play, any other effects remain on the new Pokemon. And if you switch the Pokemon this way, you shuffle your deck. So essentially, if you go Finizen, then you evolve in a Palafin, and then you move the Palafin to the bench. It does have a 1 retreat cost, so you could play the rescue board if you want, or just a normal switch. You can summon a Palafin EX out of your deck for free. Now, Palafin EX is actually pretty good, and here's what it does. Now, this was leaked yesterday before these got revealed, but this card is pretty broken. It is a Stage 1 Water Pokemon with 340 HP. Yeah, you heard right. This Pokemon has 340 HP. That's more than a Charizard EX on a Stage 1. Now, the thing is, you can only put this Pokemon into play with the effect of the Palafin 0 to Hero ability. So, in order to get this card out, you do need to use 0 to Hero, but that's fine. I mean, all you really got to do is like Buddy Poppin for Finizen, switch into Palafin, rescue board, retreat, summon a Palafin EX, and just like that, there's a Palafin EX in play, and it's got 340 HP, but it doesn't stop there. It's got the attack Giga Impact, which for a single water energy does 250 damage, and then during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. Now, that's fine, because if you're already playing this Palafin combo, you're probably already going to be playing a ton of switches to constantly get these Palafin EXs out. That is a really strong ability. Being able to do 250 damage for a single energy is crazy. That's nuts. Now, of course, you can play Choice Belt and do 280 damage. You can one-shot V-Star Pokemon like Arceus, Lugia, Giratina. And you're knocking out normal EXs anyways. I mean, you're knocking out Shenpows, Moons, Raging Bolts, Gouging Fires, like, pretty easily. Now, the one downside of Palafin, like I said, the only way to get this thing out is to use the Stage 1 Palafin. And, this deck will probably be a little weak to Iron Hands EX. If Iron Hands can get a couple damage boosters in play, there's a good chance that they can still amp you very much, knock out your Palafin. So it's not that hard for Iron Hands to still run you over. So you're probably still going to lose to Iron Hands, but you're probably going to beat everything else. I mean, 340 HP, like I said, is a ton of health. That is more than Charizard EX. You're a Stage 1 with 340. I mean, that's just crazy. This might even be easier to put into play than a Rare Candy Charizard, just because all you really got to do is just switch and stuff. It's not that complicated. And 250 damage for a single energy is pretty absurd. I'm not going to lie. 250 damage is a lot of damage to do for a single energy. Yeah, this card is pretty broken. I'm not going to lie. This Palafin EX is nuts, and it might see a lot of play. We'll see how popular Lightning gets. Maybe we're going to get some new Lightning EXs in this new set that could make this card worse. Who knows? But for now, Palafin EX actually looks like it's probably going to be a powerful deck, because this Palafin is pretty good. And you also have the other Palafins in the format. There's that Obsidian Flames Palafin that does kind of work as a one-prize attacker. So, yeah, Palafin EX, really strong card. Let me know what you think of it down below. It is going to come in its own collection box, too, which did get revealed, which is probably going to be a good thing, because if this actually becomes competitive, which it probably will be, you can get them a bit easier through the collection box. All right, we got a brand new Swirlix here, which does have Festival Temperance. Like I said, Stadium's in play. You can attack twice. Pretty much, you got Sneaky Placement, putting 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, so you can put 4 damage counters on one Pokemon. Nothing too crazy. We do, of course, have the Slurpuff here with Licky Lick, which for a Psychic and a Colorless Energy does 90 damage. You flip 2 coins, doing 90 damage for each heads. If both are tails, your opponent's active is then confused. So, kind of a mediocre card. Yeah, I'm not too sure that Swirlix is going to be great. And the Slurpuff, unfortunately, is not very good. I mean, yeah, we're probably just going to be looking at that Diplin. The Diplin is obviously the most playable of the Festival Temperance cards, but it's cool to see nonetheless. All right, we do have a new Dreepy, new Dragapult. Now, this new Dragapult is really, really powerful, and I'm not going to lie, this has got me pretty excited. It's got the ability Telling Spirit. Once you're in turn, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them in your hand, and the other at the bottom of your deck. This is an exact reprint of a Pidgeotto from back in the day, and the Pidgeotto that had this ability, the same ability where you can look at 2 cards, take one, put the bottom of your deck, did see quite a bit of play. Dracloak does the exact same thing. Now, yeah, you can't draw the 2 cards like you can with Refinement, but you're also not discarding cards from your hand. You get a built-in draw engine, which is pretty good. I mean, this is a great ability to have in the game. Dreepy can be searched out with Buddy Buddy Palafin, and you just have a great little draw engine. Is it as good as something like Bibarel or Refinement? It's not as good, I would say, but it is still a decent ability. You can still synergize it with, like, Cypher Maniac, I guess. I mean, obviously, you have to put the other card at the bottom of the deck, but you can Cypher Maniac for, like, a useless card and then a good card, put the useless card at the bottom of the deck, and then take the good card. So, there is some potential there for sure. And, yeah, I like this Draclo quite a bit. I think it's pretty playable, and it's nice to have. But Dragapult EX is also pretty good here. It is a very much spiritual successor to Dragapult VMAX. It's got a very similar attack here with Phantom Dive. For a Fire and a Psychic Energy, you can do 200 damage, and then you put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like. Now, if you remember Dragapult VMAX did 130 damage for 2 energy, and then you put 5 damage counters on your opponent's bench. This does 200 damage and puts 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon, which is pretty good. Dragapult EX is also a dragon Pokemon, so you don't have a weakness. So unlike Dragapult VMAX, which was weak to Dark, which was one of the reasons why it fell off over time, this doesn't have a weakness, and it's got 320 HP, and it also has a Terrestrial, so it can't be sniped on the bench. And it doesn't get blocked by Jirachi. Jirachi does not affect Phantom Dive, because Jirachi only blocks basic Pokemon. Dragapult EX is an evolution, so you cannot block. You can't be blocked by Jirachi. You can be blocked by Mist Energy, but we are getting Enhanced Hammer in this set, which I'm sure Dragapult will probably play if Mist Energy continues to see play in this format. This card could be pretty good. I mean, it looks pretty scary to play against if you're playing low HP basics. Lost Box would be scared of this Pokemon. So would Charizard if you're playing TM Diva, which, if Charizard continues to be a good deck with this new set, we're probably going to need to see Dragapult EX play TM Devolutions, because you can easily knock out stuff on the bench with TM Devo after a couple of Phantom Dives. Now, there are some interesting cards you can pair with this. I think one of the cards I thought of with this card was actually Neo Upper Energy, which you can actually put on the Dragapult to attack for a single energy. So you can put Neo Upper Energy on your Dragapult to attack with it for 1 energy. Maybe you can do that. You can get some damage on the board, and then you can, like, Turo it or something. If you have another Dragapult in play, you probably want to have multiple Dracloaks in play just because you do have a pretty good ability. You can Mela to Dragapult. That was another card I thought of. You can actually play Mela with Dragapult because it does require a Fire and a Psychic Energy. You can Mela to it. If something gets knocked out, you can Mela to put a Fire on and then attach a Psychic. So you kind of have like a pseudo way to power this thing up in one turn with Mela. You can play Giovanni's Charisma. You can play Neo Upper Energy, ACE Spec card. So there are some great ways to power Dragapult EX up. I think this card is actually pretty playable and is a pretty cool addition to the format for sure. All right, next up, we do have that Festival Ground Stadium. Now, this is the Stadium card that all those Pokemon with the ability that can let them attack twice needed. Now, it does have the effect where all Pokemon in play with energy on them cannot be affected by special conditions, and you heal all the special conditions of the Pokemon when there's energy on them. So, overall, this card is kind of just, it's fine. Special conditions aren't super relevant right now. Paralysis isn't fantastic, mainly because, I mean, when Paralysis was good for, like, that one tournament where, like, Coco EX saw playing Miraidon and Articuno saw a little bit of playing Palkia and stuff, immediately Charizard just played one switch and made those things redundant. But it is nice to have this in the format. It could be good if special conditions do take off at some point. I don't think they will. I mean, the only special conditions that are, like, any kind of relevant right now is, like, maybe Poison with, like, Brute Bonnet and stuff. But it's not the worst stadium, but it could be nice to have if there is some crazy special condition deck that somehow takes off in the format. Now, this is a card that does scare me. Waking Whistle. I'm not sure we needed this, but unfortunately, Control just got a brand new buff with this new trainer card. Look at the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck. Put any number of basic Pokemon you find there onto their bench. So it's basically like Misfortune Sisters, but instead of milling the item cards, you are forcing Pokemon into play. Now, this card is pretty annoying to have in the format because Control now has a great way to force out liabilities into play. That's one of the things that Snorlax aims to do. They want to get a Jirachi or Manaphy, Greninja, or Lumineon stuck in the active spot so that they can just, you can't retreat and you lose the game. And this trainer card will allow them to do that. If your hand does not have one of those cards in it and it's still in your deck, there's a chance that it can get forced into play with Waking Whistle. Now, thankfully, it might not be the most broken card ever, because, to be fair, there is a chance your opponent does whiff off the whistle, and if they're playing, one or two in the deck, most likely, I can imagine Snorlax would play at least two of these. Maybe they won't hit it the second time, too. You can get lucky. If you have the liabilities in your hand at some point, you can force the Ultra Ball to discard them. This card would have been kind of disgusting if we also had Echoing Horn still in the format. There is that Mantine, which you could also play to kind of make it really hard for the opponent to, not get Pokemon in play. It's an interesting card. Another card this could see play with, ironically enough, is Incineroar EX, because you can now force Pokemon onto your opponent's bench for Incineroar, which is really good. So that's kind of cool, but this is just a very annoying card for Control to have now. I don't think Control needed any new cards, let's be real here. I don't think Snorlax needed a buff, and this card, unfortunately, gave Snorlax a buff, because honestly, even just putting Pokemon in play is annoying in general. Like, even if they're putting, other Pokemon down that you don't want to have in play because you want to keep your bench very limited, it's an annoying card to have in the format. I don't think this should have been printed. I don't know why Pokemon likes to, keep making Snorlax stronger. But whatever, it is what it is. It looks like we now have another card in the format that is going to make Snorlax even better, and that is with that Waking Whistle. Finally, we got the Legacy Energy. Now, this card is actually really, really good for Lugia. Now, it is a special energy ACE Spec like the Neo Upper Energy. It's got the effect here where it provides any type of energy when it's attached to a Pokemon, but only provides one energy at a time. It's got the effect, as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, when it is knocked out by damage from an opponent's Pokemon's attack, your opponent takes one less prize card for it. Now, you can only use the effect once per game. So, if there's a way to loop this energy into play, Regigigas, then you can't, use it every single turn. Or otherwise, this card would have made Regis like an S-tier deck. But yeah, this card is really, really strong. It's really good with Lugia. That was the first deck that came to mind when I thought of this, was Lugia. Because now Lugia can play another attacker that only needs one specific energy type to attack and the rest colorless. So the best options for that, obviously Radiant Charizard, Iron Hands EX, Shaman V, stuff like that. Even Lumineon V can use this as a way to put itself back into the deck with Aqua Return. So this is actually a very strong card. It is an ACE Spec, so obviously if, Lugia is going to play it, they got to cut out the Master Ball, which is a big deal, but it could be worth playing within a Lugia deck, because this is a great upgrade to Lugia, because now you can use stuff like Iron Hands and Shaman a lot easier without needing Earthen Vessels. But yeah, this card is really good. It could be good with Regis. I mean, this could be a reason to bring Regis back into the format, because now Regis has a new special energy card that makes it a little bit stronger. And like I said, it's a once perfect energy, but I'm pretty sure you can, attach it over and over again. It only provide a one rainbow energy effect, though, in that regards, in the Regi deck. So I'm pretty sure after the effect pops, when you use it with your Regis, you can still use it as a rainbow energy effect from your discard pile. You just won't have the effect, I'm pretty sure, of the card. So that's kind of interesting. But it's actually a really strong new special energy, and I think it's actually a decent ACE Spec. It's a lot better than Neo Upper Energy, but it is a very good ACE Spec in my opinion, and it might make Regis playable, and I think it's great within Lugia. I think Lugia is really going to like this. But there you have, folks. That are all the new cards revealed. Like I said, a lot of really cool new cards. Palafin EX looks pretty broken. Dragapult looks pretty good. Even the Dracloak looks pretty playable at some point. When something like the Bibarel and Kirlia rotate, Dracloak could be the new kind of main draw engine. Yeah, like I said, Palafin really good. We do have that brand new Dipplin and Thwackey combo, which looks pretty fantastic. Dipplin looks really good against Charizard. The new Control item card, kind of annoying to have in the format, not gonna lie, I don't know why Pokemon printed that, but we do have the Legacy Energy, which is also looking pretty good for both Lugia and Regis. But let me know what you think of these new cards down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on these new cards, because I'm not gonna lie, these new cards are looking pretty darn good, and I am excited to try them out, because I am assuming they're gonna be coming out in our Twilight Masquerade set in May. So we're gonna get these cards very soon, and I cannot wait, because these cards are looking pretty good. And I hope you all enjoyed today's video here on the second channel. Kind of a double upload. I did my EUIC predictions today, and then we got these new cards revealed in the morning, so a bit of a double upload here on the second channel. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you on another video. Have a good day. Bye-bye.